Alright, so time for some more data. So I wanted to get a 40 to 100 pull in my 124 Abarth with the Euro Compulsion Phase 1 tune. Now I know a 60 to 130 is a little more typical, but in the current situation, you know, on my trip to Mexico, it's a little bit easier to do my 40 to 100. Also, there's another YouTuber, I think he goes by Track Day. I think it was like Track Day TV, he might have changed it to Track Day if I recall correctly. He has a 124 Abarth, it's an automatic, and he did, I think it was in December 2018, a 40 to 100 pull. He did it completely stock and got a 15.24 seconds, and then he did it again when he was running his Phase 2 Euro Compulsion tune and got an 11.81. It's a pretty significant drop going from 15.24 to 11.81 stock to Phase 2. You know, he had all the bolt-ons, intercooler, intake, exhaust, all the goods, and that's what he was able to get. So I was like, what the hell, let's try it out in my car, Phase 1, right in the middle, we'll see what we can do. So what would be the most ideal conditions to do this in? When you're getting 2 feet of snow? I don't think so, that car ain't moving. How about the day after? Probably not, but I had some spare time, so we did it anyway. So let's talk about what could go wrong. You can start spinning midway through second gear, and that happened. Right when boost started to build, boom, started to let loose a little bit. You can get a phone call right after that, and that happened as well. Your Dragy app, which does a screen recording, can just stop recording right when you mount it up because you probably hit a bunch of buttons. Yep, that sounds like me too. But it can still start yelling out all these 30 mile per hour, 60 quarter mile, and just kind of record in the background for the hell of it, even though there's no video being recorded. That happened. And lastly, the road you're driving on could have a slope increase of over 1.5%, and yup, it was 1.66% to be exact. But at the end of the day, data is data, so let's see what we can do in some not so ideal conditions. So now we got the Dragy data on screen, and as you can see, the 40 to 100 was a 13.98. The road conditions were obviously not the best, they were not ideal. Shifting I think was pretty good, second to third shift was pretty good, third to fourth kind of might have seemed like a power shift. It really, I guess you can say it was like a half one. I don't think I left the gas all the way. I was really trying to rip through the gears as quick as I can. So we got a 13.98. Notice the slope though of 1.66. That's a pretty hefty slope in the terms that like it's going to affect your your 40 to 100. And if you take a look on the screen here, we have the speed in blue going up, and then we have the height, which I believe is the road surface here. And I do remember the road it did start increasing later on. Now, if you notice this, again, this might not be the best data of a true 40 to 100, although it does sit in between Track Day and his stock versus Phase 2. But it's still good to share this data and just go over the Dragy app. I think it's a really useful tool that people can use to kind of calculate and test when they don't have time to go to the track. If you look here, the speed is increasing in like a linear fashion up until here. Then all of a sudden, boom, it just kind of goes a little more sideways. It's not following this increase of speed, which would have been all the way up here. But then also notice the road surface height, it's kind of going flat, flat, flat. All of a sudden that road started to peak up by a lot. And this just shows that when that slope started happening, the speed just didn't, keep up with it anymore. That's just physics. So this 13.98 probably will be a lot lower, and I will definitely be doing this again with better conditions. And again, I forget if I said it earlier, but Track Day, the one who did the automatic with the 15.24 stock and 11.81 Phase 2, he's in New Jersey. I don't know him personally, but he's not too far from me, I believe. He did his in like December, I think it was 2018. Conditions were similar in the sense that like temperature, I think it was like in like the 40s, maybe 41, 43. For me, it was 36 degrees. Humidity this day was about 65. I think it was in like 60 to 65%. You'll notice the DA up here is negative 535. If you see my last video with stock versus tuned, it was at the tuned one, it was like negative almost 1,500. Now the DA apparently is not the most accurate on the Dragy from the little bit of research that I did. The other one with tune was an extra negative 1000. For what it's worth, it could have performed better if the DA was lower. But a 13.98, not too bad considering the road conditions, the surface, and that slope that really impacted the way that the car would have picked up in a more linear fashion. So one of the main things to get out of this video is variables are really hard to control. There are a ton out there when it comes to car performance and stuff, but this is still data at the end of the day. People can still compare to it, talk about it. So I still want to put it out there for you guys. So if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and give it a like, comment below, let me know what you think of the settings and all the results and whatnot. And if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.